Okay, here are the branches of science that you need to practice for your speaking tests and writing tests. Branches of science. There's earth science. Earth science. The study of earth, rocks, soils, oceans, atmospheres, and surface features, weather and climate. There's physical science. The study of matter and energy. This includes physics and chemistry. Life science, study of living things. What are the three major branches of science? Physical science, earth science, and life science. Okay, number one, we have chemistry. 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 Chemistry is a physical science that studies atoms. Right? This is in your notes. Chemistry is a physical science that studies atoms. Astronomy. Astronomy. Astronomy is a physical science that studies stars, planets, space. Astronomy is a physical science that studies stars, planets, space. Botany. Botany. Botany is a life science that studies plants. Botany is a life science that studies plants. Physics. 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 Physics is a physical science that studies motion. Physics is a physical science that studies motion. Genetics. 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 Genetics is a life science that studies DNA or genes. Genetics is a life science that studies DNA. Oceanography. 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 Oceanography is a life science that studies oceans. Oceanography is a life science that studies oceans. Paleontology. Paleontology. Paleontology is either a life science or a physical science that studies fossils. Fossils. Old bones. Fossils. Paleontology is a physical or life science that studies fossils. Meteorology. 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 Meteorology is an earth science that studies weather. Meteorology is an earth science that studies weather. Geology. Geology. Geology is an earth science that studies rocks. Geology is an earth science that studies rocks. Zoology. Zoology. Zoology is a life science that studies animals. Zoology. Medicine. Medicine. Medicine is a life science that studies health. Medicine is a life science that studies health. Chemistry is a physical science that studies atoms. Actually, let's write that in there to help you out. Studies atoms. Astronomy is a physical science that studies stars. Botany is a life science that studies plants. This is all in your notes, so you have the proper sentences in your notes. Physics is a physical science that studies motion. Genetics is a life science that studies DNA. Oceanography is an earth science that studies oceans. Paleontology is an earth science that studies fossils, old bones. Meteorology is an earth science that studies weather. Geology is an earth science that studies rocks. Zoology is a life science that studies animals, not zoos. Medicine is a life science that studies health. Okay, please practice this. Practice, practice, practice.